Hi, Pamela Stevenson here. Give you a quick book review on Turn the Ship Around. This is a true story account from retired Captain David Marquet. He was a captain in the Navy nuclear submarine program, and he had been assigned to lead a particular ship. Well, he studied about this submarine for over a year in order to prepare himself to lead this submarine and this team. Well, his admiral came to him and gave him a new assignment to take on a different submarine that he knew nothing about, called the Santa Fe. Well, there were two challenges with the Santa Fe. Number one challenge was that the team had low morale, poor performance. The submarine had not passed audits. They were in desperate need of a turnaround. So Captain Marquet accepted the assignment with enthusiasm for the opportunity to implement a new transformational program to change the framework from a leader-follower framework to a leader-leader framework. I can relate to that a bit. I took on a team at my last company that had a leadership issue. And so the CEO decided to make a change, and the CIO implemented that change and removed that leader and replaced him with me. Well, I didn't know anything about the technology they were using, but I came in and implemented some specific steps to help turn the team around. And ironically, Captain Marquet did something similar, and we were both successful in those changes. It's considered transformational change in changing from a leader-follower environment to a leader-leader environment. So we'll talk about Captain Marquet's experience in this book. So as I said, he was trying to move from a leader-follower to a leader-leader environment. He knew nothing about the ship, and he had poor performance. So he met with each individual, he walked the floor, he talked to his leaders, and they all came up with some guiding principles to work by. And one of the first big steps that he made to change the dynamic was in the way he communicated with every person on the ship. So instead of it being a top-down order that came down that they were used to in the leader-follower environment, he made a change to adopt the I intend to model. In other words, people on his team and leaders on his team would approach him with an I intend to make this change, and he would say, very well, and entrust them to make that change. So this started to build accountability at the individual level for every function on that submarine, and that changed the dynamic almost immediately. So as they worked together in this new way of communicating, they defined guiding principles by which they would measure everything else by. And these included things like leadership at every level, timeliness, openness, communication, commitment, continuous improvement, integrity, initiative and innovation, and intimate technical knowledge. There's several more that are in the book. I highly recommend you read it. Once they set the guiding principles, they also set goals at an organizational level and an individual level. So this way, the support for the individual person and their career growth was acknowledged, while also building up alignment to the organizational level goals, which they were able to do as well. These goals had to be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. I'm not going to go through all of them, but again, there were things that he did to define those goals across the organization, and always remember that they need to be measurable and achievable. So at the core of his transformational framework, he needed to change the control framework, how decisions were made. He truly believed in identifying current state, defining your future state, and then changing the control framework to align to where you wanted to be in the future. So again, very aligned to transformational change. And anytime you lead teams, you may need to go through some of that in your experience. So this control framework is all about acting your way to new thinking, having short, early conversations to be efficient. Don't wait to a meeting to have a conversation. Using the I attend to turn passive followers into active leaders. Resisting the urge to provide solutions. Just kind of listening and letting other people define what the root cause problem is and what the solution could be. Eliminating top-down monitoring and building bottom-up. And then thinking out loud at all levels of the organization. And last but not least, embrace the quality inspectors. Become a partner with those that measure you. In order to support this control framework, he talked about 2 pillars. Competence and clarity. In competence, it's all about taking deliberate action, learning everywhere all the time so that you build a culture of learning. Don't just brief, but certify. Make sure those results are accurate. And then always repeat the positive messages throughout the team. With clarity, this is all about achieving excellence and not just avoiding errors. It's keeping the end in mind in everything that you do and encouraging questioning over blind obedience. Again, shifting from becoming a follower to empowering leaders. And he truly believed that you don't just empower, but you emancipate. This is all about building leaders from everyone on your team. Great concept. So I'll be curious to see what you think. I'll add some discussion points in our discussion board for us to evaluate how his leadership style worked with this group that needed help and how he implemented transformational change for positive outcomes. Because within the 6 months, they were successful at the end. They were one of the top performers, had low turnover, had people growing within their career ranks. So he was very successful in implementing this change, and this change has become a reference for many business leaders, including myself. So I hope that you enjoy the book as well in your workplace, and I'm looking forward to your feedback. Thank you.